Hello friends, TechManPat here, and this video may look, well, very different from my classic videos. In fact, it'll sound very different because today we're actually reviewing this, the BenQ Idea S1 Pro webcam, and that means the review will be filmed on the camera, and of course the microphone that you're listening to my voice on is also coming from the camera. This is a very interesting product. Is it a good webcam for conferencing and work? Is it good enough for a creator? Because it's apparently who it's for. Is it good for something a little bit more unique, like looking at close-up detailed plans of products or looking deep magnification of stuff on your desk? Or is it good for sharing plans or drawings? Well, apparently it's good for all those things, and it can get into handheld mode. So folks, join me for a full review of this IdeaCam from BenQ, or as some like to say, BenQ. I like BenQ better. I think it just sounds so much better. Big thanks to BenQ for sending me this webcam for review. Let's get started by rolling the intro. So first off the bat, I want to know your thoughts of the microphone. I think it's okay for video calls. In fact, if you've got nothing else, I think it's pretty darn good. Probably better than a laptop's microphone, and of course, definitely better than a laptop's camera. But as you can see, I'm almost a little bit overexposed, and part of it is because I have a massive light over here to try and get more light in the room. And that's the first thing you'll notice with this webcam. You do need a little bit of extra light to help it along. But that's not actually necessarily a problem. The ring that highlights you here, and some people would think of it as a ring for your face, it really isn't. It's a ring for another use case, which I'll go through in a second. The resolutions are pretty strange, actually, to be honest. They range from kind of close to 2K down to standard 1080p, and I'll have the list right here. I'm using the highest resolution with a 16:9 aspect ratio. I think that fits best, and it works really well for this use case of a webcam conferencing. If you're doing something up close or wanting to show people around, the more 3:4 aspect ratio and the highest resolution might actually be better. And for some of the macro photography or videography, after all, that resolution might be better. So folks, what can you actually do with this camera? Well, it has a very nice and heavy base that it sits on, but it's not mounted by a magnet. It can be easily popped off, like so. The only unfortunate thing that I found with this USB cable is that it's actually connected directly to the camera. It's not just a USB thing that pops up, and it's right on the side. So as soon as I lifted it, it was hitching on things. But as you can see, the autofocus is fantastic. I think it keeps my face fairly in line, and my hand isn't the steadiest thing out there. Definitely not a surgeon's hand, but I think I'm keeping it steady enough. So what would you do with handheld mode? Well, if you're a creator who potentially builds things and wants to get right up close, or you're live streaming and you're using this camera, you can take it with you to something to look at. And in fact, it has a built-in light, as mentioned before. So when we look at a project build right now, and we get up right up close, we can turn on the light to give it a little bit more light. That in itself isn't the best. The light comes in handy when you start using this macro lens, and that really is, I think, the best use case for this camera, when you want to get right up close to something on here. So let's have a little bit of a look through that. With a little bit of a magnet, it pops on.
And unfortunately, a side effect of putting the macro lens on is that it blocks the microphone, which kind of helps when you're moving things around across paper or items. It doesn't make noise, but it also means if you're using the webcam as your only microphone, you can't hear jack. And that's unfortunate because it kind of defeats the purpose of talking while you're sharing something on the screen. Now, the interesting thing here is that the macro lens is actually fantastic. You can see micro scratches on my phone screen. Amazing. I was like, wow, that's a lot of scratches on my screen that you can't see at all. And honestly, this was probably the most impressive thing about this device.
What sensor is it actually using? Where it's a Sony 8-megapixel CMOS sensor. It's not the best out there. It's certainly not at this price, but it's pretty good for what it's doing right now. And honestly, it's hard to complain with how quick the autofocus is. Personally, it makes it a lot easier to show things around the room. So it comes back to, well, is it for a creator or is it for a streamer? Well, I think they're going for creators who draw and do things on their decks, because one of the functionalities with the mount is you can just pop it down and reorientates itself automatically. There you go. I've got a curved screen just here so you can see the edges of it. But right now you can see my keyboard, and let's not mention the fact that I have to have no software to run this. However, I did test the software and I found quite a few issues. It would crash when I used the highest resolution, and it would not catch my sound in line with the video. The voice would always be offset by a few seconds, no matter what settings I used on that software. So honestly, don't bother with the software. Use something like Streamlabs or another webcam or recording software that you would use. Secondly, we have this product right here, and this is probably the best way to show something like this. This, my friends, is a BenQ controller that comes with the product. This can control a few functions of the webcam, and one of those is zoom using this right here. Then we've also got microphone mute, freeze frame, so lock it in on a frame that you're looking at right now, and this right here, which is focus, and then autofocus on and manual focus right here. This is not a button. Now, the thing I would mention with this is that it hasn't been working that well. Unfortunately, it's been hard to get to work. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't, and I haven't really used it, and I don't think it's as functional as BenQ thinks it is, because this is part of the package that comes with the more expensive version of this camera. The build quality is actually pretty impressive. It's metal, the ring is really smooth, it's quite heavy, there's a nice solid rubber band on the bottom. It has two AAA batteries and a USB receiver to connect to your computer. Okay, now I want to compare audio quality. This is an Elgato microphone. It is very good, so you'll basically hear a very good microphone versus the BenQ microphone. Now again, don't expect too much from a webcam, but again, it's not too bad. So let's have a quick listen.
This is the Elgato Wave. It is my standard microphone that I've been using for a long time, and it sounds like this. Let me know and vote on which one sounds better, either the BenQ or the Elgato. I think I know the answer, but again, think about it. That's a webcam right over there.
Now, the last feature that I wanted to highlight is the entire time I've been recording, my fans are spinning at maximum, and it's rather loud in here from those fans. I can hear it, but I think the noise reduction in the microphone here can't hear it at all. And you know what? When I was testing this, it was pretty impressive that you couldn't quite hear it. Now, this voice has not been edited. I have raised the level because, generally speaking, webcams don't record at a high level. In saying that, I think the noise reduction is great for video calls and business calls and so on.
All right, folks, and this is the difference of $200. On this side, you have the Insta360 for 569 Australian dollars. On this side, you have the BenQ IdeaCam, and $200 seems to make a massive difference for color. Now, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't test another camera that's cheaper than the BenQ. Of course, it's missing a lot of parts, like the ability to pick up the camera and move it around. Except, wait, no, it doesn't. I can actually pick it up and move it around. It is a shorter cable, but it's also removable. I can plug in a different USB-C cable. And I'm talking about the Logitech Brio, and right now it's selling for 300 Australian dollars. In fact, you can get it for like $250, so it's not particularly expensive, and it comes with some other extra features like Windows Hello, so you can unlock your computer with your face. Now, as you can see, the Insta360's quality is pretty darn good, but the Logitech Brio is not far behind. And so we come back to BenQ. It's good enough, but it's not great, and it's not fantastic. I'm really not trying to put BenQ down, because what they've done here is taken a bit of a unique approach. You can lift the camera out easily and take it with you pretty much around your room within 1.6 meters from your computer. Sure, and the microphone is, again, okay, but as a webcam, it's just good, or good enough. Let's add in a phone. This is an iPhone 13, and this is its front-facing camera. It's really tiny, and that's obviously much bigger. The BenQ is much bigger. And again, we're getting fair quality. It's pretty clear, it's not as fuzzy, and I can see a lot of details. All right, let's take this even further. This one right here is the BenQ. This one right here is the Insta360. This one right here is the Brio, and this is a C922 from Logitech. And I finally think I found a camera that matches the quality of the good version of BenQ's IdeaCam. In fact, this almost 10-year-old camera matches the quality. As you can see, the C922 still keeps up with a $320 webcam. It is only limited to 1080p, so there's that, but the resolution doesn't really change the quality that much.
So I'm left with this conclusion. It's a good webcam, as I've said multiple times so far. It's good at everything. It's not excellent, it's not beyond unique, it is good. And so when you're paying 330 Australian dollars for it, expect good. Don't expect fantastic. And if you see this camera on special for about $100, hey, then it's a fantastic buy because of that price. Friends, thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to BenQ for sending me this Cam 4 review. I did enjoy using it, and I think it has some particular use cases. I don't know if it's for creators. I think it's more of a teacher or a business use case. And of course, if you like this video, then smash the like button and subscribe to see more content like this. I'll catch you all in another one. Bye!